because we're going to begin with our youngest learners and we're going to work up to our senior learners. So this session is for kindergarten to grade 3, and we're just all very excited to be here. My name is Maureen Asselin. I'm an educator from the Halton Catholic region, and I'm on a secondment with TVO, and we're going to share all of the resources that are all free that we work on together as a team, and that will be able to support the learners that you serve and support. I'm going to pass it over to Sadia to introduce herself and the rest of the team. Thank you. Thanks, Hanif.
Thank you, Maureen. Hi, everyone. My name is Sadia Hussain. I'm the Outreach Support Officer at TVO. I'm also an early childhood educator. So my area of expertise is early years learning. And today I will be talking about TVO Kids. Looking forward to it. And I'll hand it over to Iniyal.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning for the TVO session. My name is Iniyal Inparajah, and I am an educator and administrator from the Toronto District School Board. I've been teaching in the board for the past 20 odd years in Scarborough, and I look forward today to sharing the TVO Digital Learning Resources that you could take back to your to the clients whom you serve, to your community members, and even within your families as well. I will pass it on to Mel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mel Mulcaster. I am an educator and a teacher librarian. Last year, I was the instructional coordinator for libraries in the Peel District School Board, and I am on secondment with TVO this year, and I'm very pleased to be joining with you in learning today.
We would like to begin by recognizing that wherever in Ontario we're logging in from today, we're located on the traditional territory of Indigenous peoples. I want to acknowledge all Indigenous people in Ontario and their traditional territories, all the nations across this province who have called this land their home for thousands of years. TVO is located on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Huron-Wendat, and Mississaugas of the Credit. Wherever you're logging in from today, I invite you to reflect on those nations that have been the caretakers of the land that you're on. Think about where we can each take meaningful action on a personal level to repair relationships with Indigenous communities and the land upon which we reside now and into the future. We invite you to visit the link that's posted in the chat to learn more about treaties across Ontario. The digital learning resources at TVO have gone through equity and inclusion review. The learning activities address Indigenous perspectives in an authentic way. TVO resources have been reviewed by Indigenous specialists in order to ensure that the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada's calls to action are followed to advance the process of Canadian reconciliation. TVO continues to work towards ensuring that no voice is marginalized and accurate representations, both current and historical perspective occurs. In addition, the learning resources are designed in compliance with the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act. What this means is that the learning activities are accessible for all students. Descriptions of all images and videos are included in the context of the learning, and the activity itself can be read out loud using a screen reader. The language as well throughout the learning activities is inclusive, giving students the opportunity to explore, imagine, and discover learning. So during the outreach sessions, we find that displaying this particular slide and giving a very brief overview of TVO's digital platforms helps provide educators and community members with a better understanding of how TVO can support all divisions. TVO offers Ontarians a ladder of supports for all ages, from the youngest learners from preschool all the way through adulthood. So let's begin with TVO Learn. TVO Learn is one of the newest digital resources, and it connects the power of all of TVO's education resources in one place. And it provides you with immediate access to engaging activities and topics that are aligned with the curriculum for each grade level, and as well with the links to different subject learning activities. It also features open courses for grades 9 to 12. TVO mPower is a fun and innovative game-based resource that builds problem-solving, critical thinking, and math skills for students from kindergarten all the way to grade 6. TVO Mathify provides students from grade 4 to 11 with a safe learning environment to develop their math skills and access to free one-to-one tutor who is an Ontario College of Teacher certified educator. TVO Kids gets kids ready for school, life, and to take on the world with the power of learning. TVO Coding in the Classroom has coding webinars and coding activities, and they're curated by Lisa Ann Floyd, who is a prominent educator in Ontario and a supporter of coding and STEM education. And there are activities for all divisions for coding.
We are very excited to introduce one of our newest digital learning resources, TVO Learn. It's an engaging online supplemental resource consisting of a series of learning activities used to support remote and blended learning. And this can help caregivers, community organizations, teachers, and learners of all ages with at-home and at-school learning. And the best thing is that it's free. We are going to begin by sharing a brief overview video of the TVO Learn learning activities.
Welcome to TVO Learn. We support families and educators with engaging and free resources to enhance or deepen learning from students in kindergarten through grade 12. Everything on tvolearn.com is developed or created by Ontario educators and supports what students learn in class. TVO Learn offers in-depth learning activities, STEM games from TVO mPower, math tutoring support from TVO Mathify, and curriculum-linked videos from TVO Kids. Plus, vocabulary lists, curated current affairs articles, and videos from tvo.org, and so much more. We're constantly evolving to meet the needs of today's students, parents, and educators. Expanded resources are on the way. To get started, simply visit tvolearn.com and select a grade to view the subject areas in the Ontario curriculum. Choose a subject to access the full range of resources available. Our resources are AODA compliant, and they reflect the diversity of Ontario. For high school support, narrow your search by language, grade, subject, and type of instruction. There are over 140 not-for-credit courses from TVO ILC available to help students explore new skills or support and enhance current studies. Here's what educators are saying about TVO Learn. Check out TVO Learn today and discover an extensive offering of Ontario educator-developed free learning resources that make learning an enjoyable and impactful experience. For more information about the TVO resources, go to outreach.tvolearn.com. You can also sign up for a personalized session with our TVO Ontario educators. To book an outreach session, please email us at outreach@tvo.org.
So TVO Learn was initially launched in November of 2020 and provides learners, community, organizations, caregivers, and educators with an interactive way to help their student or the children that they serve access learning in the K-12 curriculum. TVO Learn is really unique in the sense that it connects the power and connects aspects of all of TVO's digital learning resources in one place to provide learners with immediate access to engaging activities and topics that are aligned with the curriculum by grade and subject level. These resources can be used on their own or as a supplement to learning that happens anywhere at any time. All of the TVO Learn activities are advertisement free and relevant to today's learner, and it's open source access, meaning that if you go to the tvolearn.com website, everyone will be able to access this information. So this is an example of what you may notice when you log on to the TVO Learn website. So this is a screenshot. So you may notice at the top there are drop-down menus for grades 1 through 8 and kindergarten. And then alternatively, you can click on the grade level boxes. When you click on the grade level boxes, you'll see learning activities for mathematics, language, social studies, the arts, science and technology. There are learning resources there. However, we're awaiting the new curriculum, which comes out in 2022, and those will populate there shortly. So this is an example of what you may notice when you click on the kindergarten tab. Learning activities are aligned with the 4 different frames. And then you would just click on one of the 4 different frames to access the kindergarten learning activities there. This is an example if we clicked on the grade 3 tile and then clicked on mathematics. So this gives you a curriculum overview to discuss some of the big ideas that will be explored, the curriculum strands that are covered. When we scroll down in a second, we'll see the learning activities. TVO additionally, you'll have TVO resources that support the curriculum and a vocabulary list. So here's an example of the learning activities. You may notice that they are separated by strand. All of these social emotional strand learning expectations are interwoven in all the learning activities. In this particular case, we've highlighted the algebra strand, and we've highlighted there are coding activities in 10, 11, and 12. So we're just going to take a moment to take you into the TVO Learn website and bring you through how you might find a particular learning activity. So again, the drop-down menu, click on grade 3. Okay, then we are going to click on mathematics again. We are going to scroll down, click on algebra. And one that I like is the skip counting. Skip counting through coding. So all the learning activities are interactive. They include a 3-part learning format with a minds-on, action, and consolidation. And you may notice at the side that the learning goals are indicated. So if you click on that little flyout tab, it'll give learning goals and suggested success criteria for the learners. What's really cool about this activity is there's a hyperlink to Scratch, so learners do not need to have a Scratch account. They can interact with that Scratch coding project and modify it. And if Iniyal goes back to the slide, to the site, there are interactive activities. So learners can read the question again through a screen reader, can be used, and then they can check their answer. We do encourage you on the TVO Learn website. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, it does encourage you to stay connected by signing up for the newsletter. There's a monthly newsletter that comes out with a different theme, highlighting some great learning activities and resources that you may try to use, that you may use with the learners that you serve. And this month was focusing on pride and supporting learners in Indigenous History, National Indigenous History Month. And I'll pass it back. Oh, I think we're giving you some time to explore. So what we'll do is give a few minutes on the clock, give you a few minutes to click on the TVO Learn website, choose a subject, choose one learning activity in a grade level or strand of your choice. There are some really great learning activities in the arts curriculum, and just go through and peruse and just really think about how these learning activities might support the communities that you serve. We'll give you a few minutes on the clock, and then I'll pass it over to Iniyal to begin exploring TVO mPower.
Sounds great. I got a timer on. And if you have any questions, please pop it into the chat, and we have members of our team who can support with some of the answers as well. Happy exploring.
I just put into the chat the TVO Learn Newsletter for June, which Mel just showcased. Iniyal, thanks for putting that link in. So that's all our Indigenous resources that are linked for National Peoples Day, but Indigenous Day, but also for the month. So there's there by grade for the learners you're supporting, or maybe the students you're working with, whoever you're supporting.
Okay, we are going to continue on with TVO mPower. TVO mPower is a free creative online game suite that supports the development of foundational math skills from kindergarten to grade 6, while fostering positive attitudes towards math for at school and at home learning. So it was designed and developed in partnership with Ontario students and educators. It is learner-centered, assessment-driven, and it's aligned with the Ontario curriculum. It's free for all Ontarians to use, and it's a safe, advertisement-free play space for learners. Here you'll notice the curriculum overview chart. So there are 65 plus TVO mPower games that students can explore. And each of the game is aligned to the math curriculum. So you'll notice here the name of the game, the grade level that it aligns with, the big idea, and the expectations that each of the game covers. So the learners have fun playing, but it's authentic and it's purposeful in its goal. So when students log in to their TVO mPower account, they can enter play in a variety of ways. So on the left, you'll see sort of the game world where they can walk around, navigate, enter different enter different places, and then complete the task at that location. Or they can browse all the 65 plus games, and they can just click on and choose. The beauty of this is that there are no grade level designations that the students can see. Because they can go and play any game they want. And there's multiple entry points based on choice and comfort level of the student. So as the adult, you can curate and you can share a particular game that you want the learners to play, or you can allow them to choose and engage in the play at their level. So these are the different game worlds that they enter, and each of the game world is different and it's age appropriate with sort of the content, the narrative, as well as the characters as well. And the characters of the games they were actually designed and developed with the learners of Ontario, and they represent the diverse cultures, abilities, and ages as well. So in the kindergarten world, the learners explore familiar settings within their local community in a world called My Street. In grade 1, learners explore sort of a larger community through the lens of community service in a world called My Town. In grade 2, they explore sort of the world in a world called My Clubhouse, where they go and visit different biomes and habitats and do math tasks. And from in grade 3, they explore different math tasks in a world called My Ontario, where they take on a job of a modern day Ontarian. And all of these games, though they're math games, they have links to other curricular areas as well. And these games are accessible in terms of they actually reinforce oral and written language. So learners have the option to turn off the speech or the voice, but also the instructions are written as well in text format, so they can see, they can hear, they can interact with the activity and the language that way. There are lots of visuals to support the learners. There's scaffolding built into the game. So if a learner is finding a particular task challenging, there are hints, there are reinforcement to support and move that learning through. There are lots of manipulatives, so you'll see 10 frames or geoboards or coins or clocks. So lots of great visuals to support the learner as they are learning fundamental math concepts. This is an example of a kindergarten world. It is a small world with places that are familiar to the youngest learners. In this local community, players visit familiar locations like home, school, playground, fire station, and they play games within those locations. Each game in the kindergarten to grade 2 world provides an experience drawn from, classroom instructions and what they're doing in class, but also real world, real life context that gives math authenticity and purpose. And as I mentioned before, it's cross-curricular with science and social studies, and of course, language arts. Students are guided through, as I mentioned as well, with hints and reinforcements to encourage and to build up that confidence as a math learner. And there are lots of manipulatives and visuals there to support the learner as they play through. Here we are in a grade 1 world where the community expands with more places to explore, like the grocery store, the library, the park, the clinic. And here TVO mPower games can be used as sort of a discussion point or a springboard for discussions about community service and services in the community. So we are going to view a game overview of a grade 1 game called Money Midway, and it's linked to the financial literacy strand.
This time, try a new combination of coins. Insert 15 cents. Tap to add coins. Prepare for takeoff.
As you can see, this is the grade 2 world where the characters have grown up. As you notice, they're growing up in order to sort of, as they age. Students explore global communities as members of a geo club, visiting different biomes such as, the Amazon rainforest, tundra, savannas, to perform purposeful math tasks and also observe animals in their habitat. In grade 3, it's a little bit more of a sophisticated gameplay where they have different tiers that they have to unlock in order to move forward. And here, learners in grade 3 could have also extensions as well as they unlock those levels. And at the very top here, you can see a game world example called Food on the Move that has links to financial literacy. And at the bottom here, a game called Cyber Siege that has links to algebra and solving equations. And in grade 3, they get to, choose their avatar and sort of engage with the play a little bit more. In addition to the math games, there are lots of STEM games from kindergarten to grade 3 as well. And these STEM games allow learners to really create, to tinker, to design and iterate their designs. So all of that is available in addition to the math games. Here are some of the STEM games for kindergarten, grade 1, 2, and 3. As you can see, they are able to not just play math, but also engage in creative engineering design process. So as if you have an educator email, you do have access to the educator account or educator dashboard that you can engage in, but there's also a parent account that you can register for, and I'll go through that in a little while. So here we have an example of how the TVO mPower game can be utilized in the environments that you are in. So I know that there are a lot of librarians out there here today, and also community organizations that may be doing groups in their locations. So in this particular case, we actually started the learning experience with a picture book called Not a Box, and learners were able to engage with that book. They were then able to create using a virtual Jamboard of tinkering where they created using virtual manipulatives and create something. And then we introduced the kindergarten game called Storybook Theater, where learners, when they play the game, they create a story. So lots of literacy behaviors embedded in there. They get to choose a setting, choose the characters, plan the events, then use those transition words in building the story. They get to then listen or share the story with others and have the ability to change and iterate. And the cool thing about this particular game is that it builds in social emotional literacy as well. And you can see here some of the kindergarten students in Halton Catholic District School Board engaging in that. So lots of ways to integrate the games with other things that you are doing. So as mentioned before, TVO mPower, you do need an account to engage in the play. So you can have an educator account. So if you have an educator email address, you can have an educator account with the board, or you can have a parent account as well. There is a little bit of a difference. The educator account has access to that educator dashboard, which has some data-driven reports that you could use, whereas the caregiver account does not have that particular those particular services. So as a caregiver, you can register by just your first name, last name, email address, and then you will authenticate in order to have access to the account. And then you add the child or children. So if you are a community agency, you can then add the names of the students, learners that you are serving, and it will create sort of a learner account like this. And then you can give them their login access, and they can log in and have access to all the games that an educator or a student in a school board would have as well. In terms of what it looks like, I have here, I think maybe it timed out. I'll just show you my parent account, what it looks like. And I've just added 2 learners in the parent account that I have. And I created a parent account with my personal email address, and I've added two players. And then you can share that login information with your learners in order for them to engage and play. So we'll give you a
Ms.
bit of time.
Inparajah,
Yeah.
Can you just go back one slide?
Sure.
Or actually to your account where you're showcasing the parent account.
Yeah.
This is actually the dashboard that is for the parents. This was a request from parents, caregivers, families. So this is what the dashboard looks for parents, guardians. So you can add as many learners here, as many children as you have access to that you're working with. We have some tutors that are working with after school programs that they created a profile and add 10 from their group. So that's just an example. You can again place whoever you're working with at whatever grade level they're working at. They might be at a grade 4, but working at grade 2. So really up to you, and you can add them wherever you are. Just that being said, they do have access to all of the games, which Iniyal mentioned.
Yeah, and I just added Melanie as well. So we can we'll put 3 minutes on the clock for a bit of exploration. You can register as a caregiver, you can register as an educator depending on your situation, and then explore that particular resource as well. Yeah, I can definitely demonstrate. Wanda is asking, what does a learner experience? So I will, if you don't want to hear me talking while you're doing your exploration, please do mute me. I won't take it personally, but I will demonstrate what a learner experience is.
I have a question, Wanda.
Yes. Hello?
Yeah, Wanda, I have a question. To open an account in TVO, is it warranted to pay some fee or what? Or is it free?
Yeah, I can answer that question. Is it Ms. Ambero?
Yeah.
Hi, Ms. Ambero. No, it is free for all Ontarians. So let me just, so when I go to the TVO mPower account, I think I have to log out. It just remembers me. So when I go here, this is my first time, let's say, as a caregiver, I would click on create an account, and then I would choose parent. If you have affiliation with the school board and you have a school board email address, then you can pick educator. Okay, so I would go to caregiver or parent, and then I would register, and it's free. And you can add as many learners. So if you have a after school club that you are doing with your organization, you can add as many learners in that account and then have them log in and play. So how does the student log in? Okay, let me do that for you now. Okay, so I would sign in, and I hope I remember this.
I have a question. So on the website, they have mPower, tvo.org, and another one is tvo.com. Which one?
They'll all go to the same one, because we had one before. TVO mPower was created for educators, and then we were being responsive to the needs of our communities. And so now there's an mPower for parents, guardians, caregivers, for all communities. So any librarian can create an account, anyone who works at the YMCA, wherever people are, anyone can have it. So wherever you're there, and just click on the account that you have. If you do have a school board affiliation, you can do it through that portal as well.
Thanks. So for the program participant, if they want to create an account, which one they can choose, like educator or like a caregiver? They have no caregiver here.
It's the parent one.
Okay, thanks.
So let me show you that again. Okay, so you'd go to create an account, and you would go to parent, and then you would put your first name, last name, your email address, and then you would create a password, and then you would create your free parent account. And that will give you access like I did. Like, this is my parent account. Let me go back there. So that will, then I can sign in. I'm using the word caregiver, and because I'm mindful of the, that's just what I'm using, but essentially my caregiver parent account. So when I log in, here are my learners. You can have as many learners there, and then you can provide them with, you can provide them with the login so that they can go in and play. Okay, so if Alexander was to play, this is what he would experience. He would first see the world. Like I said, you can enter through the world, and they could enter through the world, and they could walk around, and they can play that way. But a lot of kids actually, sometimes some like entering play that way. Others just like to have a list of all the games, and they would essentially go in and click on a game like I'm doing right now, and then they would play that.
Hi there! At the fire station, you will create repeating patterns. I see a pattern over there. At the fire station, they are everywhere.
I'm going to skip it because of time.
A pattern repeats 3 times. What comes next? Sound the alarm. You extended the pattern. Good thinking.
I can stop play at any time. I can go back to my game list and choose another one. Wanda, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I have another, yeah, okay, wait.
I'm going to pass it just because of timing. I'm just going to be mindful, and we'll stay on a little bit after if you have any further questions. I'm going to pass it on to Sadia.
Thank you so much. Moving on to my favorite TVO platform, TVO Kids helps children across Ontario get ready for school and life. Every day, thousands of children enjoy the daily programming and games that TVO Kids has to offer. On tvokids.com, children from grade 1 to 6 can immediately access TVO shows and games that are engaging, safe, and ad-free. One tip is that if you're seeking subject-specific content, you can click on the Explore by Topic button to explore games and shows based on their subject of focus, such as math, literacy, social studies, and more. How Do You Feel is an example of one show for kids on TVO Kids. It introduces children to the concept of self-care, as well as strategies for navigating mental health challenges. This series is hosted by Atkin, who openly discusses his feelings and emotions with his young friends, all while sharing positive mental health coping strategies. A few other programs I'd like to highlight celebrate identity and amplify Indigenous voices. For example, there is Raven's Quest, which is a children's documentary series for children aged 6 to 9. It features first-person profiles of Indigenous kids from across the country. Each episode showcases a different child and their day-to-day hobbies, their talents, and their traditional practices. There's also My Home, My Life, which explores what home means to different kids all over Ontario. And these are just a few examples of many that celebrate identity and help children to see themselves in the programming that they watch. Finally, there is TVO Kids Power Hour of Learning, which is daily programming for elementary school students. These hour-long learning activities are developed by educators in support of the Ontario curriculum. You can either watch them as a whole or break the lessons into segments and are a great way to open up dialogue with learners. Just on a personal note, I'd like to share that I personally grew up watching TVO Kids, and I feel that that has made me a lifelong advocate for the program, and that it is a safe space for children to absorb media. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll continue on here. You can check out all of the different TVO digital learning resources by visiting TVO Outreach. And it has each of the digital learning resources listed and really kind of explores each one in more detail. So that's a really great place to check out as well, if you're interested. And the coding, there are lots of, and one
I'm
of
here
those,
now, Iniyal. Sorry,
Oh,
my
okay.
microphone wasn't unmuting and I was talking. I was like,
No
why is no
worries.
one?
So I just told them that to go to TVO Outreach, and on TVO Outreach, there is coding in the classroom, and I'll pass it on to you.
So the coding in the classroom is another digital learning resource on the TVO Outreach page. And this learning resource highlights coding activities and coding learning, supporting learning in the math curriculum. And now there was just a webinar last Wednesday, correct? On June 1st,
right.
about how we can support coding in the science curriculum. So learning activities are arranged by grade level. So you may notice the primary grade. So there's webinars and learning activities that can be used to support the communities that you serve. The next slide is an example of one of the primary learning activities, taking a look at examples of Scratch code or noticing and wondering those examples of Scratch code and really figuring out which one doesn't belong. And there's a variety of supports available there. I think we're doing okay for time. We wanted to give you some more time to explore and to ask any questions if you wanted to. So going over to TVO Kids, using the search feature to explore the topics. So the little magnifying glass, or you can search by topic. Some of the excellent content we have. Some of our favorites is the science explosion, the coding activities, the Anadroids is some of my favorite coding games, and some other digital learning resources. And of course, check out Wolf Joe. Wolf Joe is an amazing young individual. We do also encourage you to go visit TVO Coding in the Classroom and explore some of the primary grades 1 to 3 learning activities. So again, we are here to support. Please take a few moments to explore. If you have any questions, please unmute or put your questions in the chat box.
I'm just going to jump in. It's Maureen. Coding in the Classroom. Thank you, Mel, for mentioning we just did the science webinar. So the science recording is there for you. Lisa and Floyd has just sent us a shareable deck with all of the resources and links there. So it has been added to the YouTube description. It's at the bottom. So you can always just click on that link and go. You can watch the recording if you so choose, or you can just go through the slides. And she walks through the brand new science and technology, which will be coming into effect as of September. So that's there for you. Lots of coding, coding, coding. So fun.
So I'm mindful of the time. I'll put 3 minutes. It's done at 10. Am I right?
10:15.
10:15. So perfect.
Yes.
So let's.
Iniyal, I have 9:58 on my timer, unless I have the wrong time.
Yeah, no, we're good. So
Okay.
we can give everyone a good 5 minutes to explore not just the kids or the coding, but you can go back and explore the TVO Learn or mPower. And if you need some support with registering for the TVO mPower, because that's the only one you'll have to register for, we're here to support you with that as well.
So I have a question. So for the registration, I have the same question as Wanda. So as a community organization, seems like we cannot create an educator account because we are not part of the school board. Is that correct?
So Wanda, that is something Maureen can look into for us. But at the moment, the Educator Dashboard is only available if you register with a educator account that's associated with the school board. However, here's a way around it. Okay, a way around it for now could be that let me go back to that. There is a curriculum overview chart that you have access to. So that could guide you. This one right here could guide you in terms of which game is related to which grade level. And then students can still play those games because all of these games are available to all learners in Ontario. Right? So whether you have an educator account or a caregiver account, and that's how you're adding your learners, they have access to all of it. The only thing a parent guardian doesn't have access to is that dashboard, that educator dashboard. But the games are available the same way to everybody and playing the same way. They play the same way, they have access to the same games. Nothing is different.
Yes, so as a community organization volunteer or leader, you would access with a caregiver account because you do not have a school board address.
Yeah.
Wanda, you can email me and we can discuss it further afterwards, because sometimes depending on the organization, we have been able to sometimes add. It really depends on where your email domain is from. So Hanif will know this more than I, because he's our expert with that. But if you can just send me an email, I put my email in the chat, and then the email domains that are associated with the people that you work with, and then we can go from there.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So Wanda, if you can see here, and I'm speaking to Wanda because she asked the question, but really to everybody, I apologize, I'm only mentioning one name. But when you do create that parent account, as you can see here, for each of the student, there is a username and a password. So what you can do is share that username and password with the parent, with the child and their caregivers, and they can then use that to log in, just like a student would in a classroom, right? They could use that login to log in and play. So there were some questions about logins and passwords when you register for a parent account. So again, here you have all the students that you have added, and you'll notice their username, which you can't change, but you can definitely change their password, right? You can change it to just 123 or ABC. And they are they're not case sensitive. So that's something that you can do. And you can share that with the learner and their family so that they can log in from home or from the organization space that you are in.
If the questions are open?
Yeah, go ahead, Miss Ambaro.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you. It was a good information for me. While I run, I don't have problem because I am related to Frontier College, who is helping all our after-school program that helps many of those parents who I highly need. But still, I wanted to emphasize more my agency, which is Community Health Center. They have a program they call Early On Child, and I was looking, I am looking forward to encourage them that program coordinator or anyone at least to see how they can help with these parents, whether they are new parents or new immigrants, parents who join their programs to use and access for TVO thing. So what you will advise? Do I have to tell them to call or to register or to do something?
Yeah, Ms. Ambaro, that is a fantastic question, and I like how how can we get this information to the community members, right? And Mel is going to share with us, kind of finish this up if she's still here.
Yes.
Okay, and maybe about the ambassadors too.
Yes, so a couple of different things. So one thing I would, have this website, our TVO outreach site website, which has all the digital learning resources, and you can direct for the learners in your particular environment, absolutely giving them more information about TVO mPower and TVO Learn and TVO Kids. So all that information is there. If the community members or the community that you support is interested in a session, we can have a TVO mPower ambassador out probably virtually and support parents and caregivers in a TVO Learn, TVO Learn or TVO mPower specific session to support the communities that you serve. So the parents and caregivers could register and get their children that they support accounts and get them really going on. So that event request is at the bottom there. So bit.ly/TVO event request is certainly something that you could be sharing with the communities that you serve to get more supports. And we are here to support in any way that we can.
Yeah, and Mel and I have done sessions for community members, like for parents and guardians. So we did one where during March break, we had caregivers and their kindergarten grade 1, 2, 3 child or children join the session. We gave them an overview of TVO mPower, and we got them to register, and then we got them to play. And then, so that was something that we can definitely do if you choose to.
Yeah, for the time being, during this COVID time, there is a break anyway, and isolation for many of the parents, especially those their English is second language. We used to do before like sessions, calling someone to give an information for those new parents or refugees who are new in Canada, whose English is limited, that someone can come in and give more information, details, how they can lead their kids in a safe place to use the TV or the games or everything. But now it is craziness during this COVID, but I'm looking forward as soon as we settle now to reorganize the community members, because I have some parents or kids are new in Canada and they have disability like a deaf. The kid is 15-year-old, 14-year-old deaf, and the parent is still struggling how to at least help these kids with kind of sign languages or something, and English is limited. I hope that time I will get a chance that Frontier College will lead me where I can get the resources that can do a presentation to the community. And I'm looking forward to do at least some more community information sessions in the future. Yeah, I hope this COVID will settle for us. We are overwhelmed working, go home is craziness. And thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Ambero, and please do email us. You have our emails from the beginning of the slide deck. Please do email us. We'll put it in the chat as well. And we want to thank you all for joining us today. We have 4 minutes left for any questions that you may have, but we thank you for your time. We hope you at least found one thing that you can take back to your community and share with your colleagues as well. Mel, any last words?
I'm just going to jump in before Mel does. The PowerPoint we have sent, but we've updated a few of the slides. So we will PDF the PowerPoint, which has all the links embedded, and we'll send it back to Sandra and Hanif. And I believe they're putting the recording and the slide deck out. If you want to share your email with us, we can send you the PDF. I think we do have your emails. As far as I know, I think Sadia received all of your emails upon registration, and we can send that out to you afterwards if that's helpful. We just don't want to overwhelm. Yes.
I just wanted to thank everyone for their time and all that they do in the service of the communities that they serve. And I'm really excited to hear your voices and figure out the potential of how TVO Digital Learning Resources can help support the communities that you serve. So thank you so much again for your time.
Hanif, maybe we can stop the recording and then people can ask questions. Thank you so much.
Sure.
And a shout out